Alrighty, folks, we are in for a treat at the end of the year. We are welcoming back Lia the Trader. She's been on the channel before talking about what she does day in and day out. How you doing, Lia?
Hi there. Nice to be
Uh,
here again. I'm doing really well.
awesome, awesome. I love what you are doing on X. Let's remind people of our first couple of episodes together. What do you do day in and day out? Why don't we start there?
I am an investor and a trader, and I am day trading every day. And I invest into real estates and stocks and VC funds and all sorts of other things.
Yeah, one of the things I love about following you on X is or Twitter is you're out there every day, you're putting up there the wins, the losses. You are a trader, right? Versus an investor, like buy and hold forever. We talked about that in the first episode. Then we talked about your experience with whether it was psychology or really understanding what makes people tick and really what makes most people bad traders, right? I really
Yeah.
remember those
hmm
conversations. So let's
Yes.
remind people of your background, sort of pre-trading.
So I worked as a marriage counselor and mediator for couples for 10 years. I studied psychology, biology, and all the science. I wanted to be a doctor. And then I realized how much it cost, and I had no family here. So I changed the path a little bit and went to study mediation and arbitration, basically. So I moved this science to couples therapy. So I was helping people with intractable couples conflicts and around sexuality mainly. That was my focus. And in COVID, I became a trader. So it's been now in 2 months, will be exactly 4 years I've been trading daily.
Wow, that's amazing. And then the other thing I remember celebrating and just being in awe about is um, you live life, right? You go out, you have fun, you experience, you share your travels, and you're not just stuck in a room, with five monitors, day in day out forever. You are living life. You talk about having a couple $1,000 days and moving on, and hey, it's done. I made my trades. I'm out. I'm living life. That's something I remember as well.
Yes, I like to have balance because you never know when it's over. And I live every day like it's my last day. And, you just adjust with the age. When you're in your
Yeah.
20s and 30s and 40s, you do something else, but it's enjoyment. So I think it's very important to have this kind of work-life balance.
Yeah. And then just catching everybody up at the very end of our second conversation, you dropped a little nugget, which is where we're going to dig in this conversation, that you are actually a real estate investor. You built up, as I recall, a portfolio in Europe. You now have stuff domestically in the United States. So let's talk about Lia, the real estate investor. When did that start? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so when I was my gosh, 21, yeah, I think 21 was 2004, 5, yeah. 21, 22, I started buying real estate and I wanted to actually buy an apartment first and live there and buy a next door apartment that I can rent, and I kind of wanted to do the math that I live for free. That was my
Right.
goal. But then when I was looking, I actually looked and I found buildings that would cost about what some apartments cost. Maybe you would have to be in a different location, a little bit in the city, a different part of town, but you would get like 4, 5, 6 times the square
Right.
footage. So I looked into it and I was 21, 22, started looking, and I'm like, wow, this is like a dream. Like I was not even imagining that I could own buildings. And
Right.
what I realized, of course, that they were really old and there was a lot of work to be done. But I love working.
Mm.
Doesn't bother me. I had the time. I was young. I was very very driven, and yeah. So I started buying buildings because I figured, if you are renovating in bulk, it's easier than just one apartment after another. Sure, it's fine too, but you have to deal with the people in the building. So once the building is mine, I'm the people. So I was doing that, and I kept two buildings for myself, which had a total of 14 apartments, and I then bought a couple of warehouses that I got a permission to turn into lofts, like huge apartments. And
Wow.
in some parts of some cities in Germany that were economically challenged because of change of an industry, you could buy these warehouses that were basically for nothing. for
Right.
super cheap. And you can see this in the US as well. When you look at some parts of Brooklyn in New York or Chicago, like a lot of these parts of town were very industrial. And now they're building these amazing, like really cool lofts and apartments, San Francisco as well. So it's kind of this industrial look. So that's what I was doing. And I was just selling them after. But the 14 I had for passive income. So by the age of 24, I was pretty much set.